The Trump administration just did something devastating to women veterans that has not broken through in the news because of everything else that's going on. The words and phrases that I'm about to use on this video are things that the algorithm generally punishes. So if this is something that you care about, I'm going to need your help spreading the message. That goes beyond like, comment, share type stuff. This means you need to produce your own content because it's not going to break out of my account otherwise. On December 18th, Trump's Office of Legal Counsel, the OLC, issued a memo that has banned abortion healthcare services for veterans across the country. Now, if you've been tracking the issue of women veterans' access to abortion healthcare services at the VA, you know that the Trump administration proposed a rule change this summer that was open for public comment, where they just got clobbered. People who care about women veterans came in and left comments for the record, stating not just why they personally felt it was important, but women veterans were coming in and telling their stories about the way that bans have impacted them in the past and that access to abortion health care has helped them. There were devastating stories that women veterans were telling about how they lost any ability to reproduce because they were not guaranteed access to abortion care. Women veterans were telling stories about how they could have had a simple procedure and instead they ended up losing organs. On the other side, there were women veterans who've used abortion healthcare services who were able to describe how when it was right for them and when they had a healthy fetus, it was the previous abortion healthcare services that allowed them to have healthy children. Now, the VA granting access to abortion healthcare services is a relatively new thing. It was something that was enacted by the Biden administration because their Office of Legal Counsel came up with a memo that basically said the health and welfare of women veterans is too important to just apply these ideological bullshit fucking rules to ban them from healthcare services. The Trump administration knew that they could not justify changing the rules because the public comments opposed to their rule change were so overwhelming that instead they just ignored that entire process. They had their Office of Legal Counsel issue a memo that said effective immediately, women veterans and veterans dependents who have access to the VA no longer have access to abortion healthcare services. And that includes in the cases of rape and incest. Banned. Now, what the Trump administration is going to say is that, well, of course, in the cases of the life of the mother, we'll provide those services. But the reality is, when there's this kind of restriction, doctors are too scared of the bureaucrats and lawyers to provide necessary healthcare services until it's often too late. And I want to be really clear. The OLC memo under the Trump administration explicitly bans healthcare services for women veterans in the case of the health of the mother. That is to say, like, if they don't get abortion healthcare services, they're going to lose their uterus, but they're not going to die. Well, they are banned from abortion healthcare services. A doctor has to be able to legally justify saying that this patient would die if I did not intervene and provide abortion healthcare services. And the reality is that line is far, far, far too into destroying the health and welfare of women veterans to be justifiable in any legal or moral framework that reasonable people agree on. If you want to read more about this, go check the article at The Hill where I show the headline. And again, do me a favor. You have to do more than just like, comment, and share on this video. It's going to get suppressed. You need to create your own content on every platform that you can, because this story has not broken through, and it is too important for us to ignore.